to ensure that the citizens are getting a fair return. Our past administrations, most specifically Obama and Biden, who did not support coal leasing, they actually provided a return to taxpayers of zero, as they did everything in their power to destroy our coal industry. What is your team doing to ensure we develop a fair market value of coal that would reflect real market conditions but encourage leasing, as well as rooted in current market realities, so we can lease more coal in Wyoming?
Thank you, Representative. Obviously, having affordable, reliable baseload energy is key to America's future and key to us winning the AI arms race with China. China was mentioned earlier. China added last year 93 gigawatts of coal. They're on track to do a similar amount this year. We know the technology exists in your state, my home state, to produce energy cleanly from coal. That coal also includes critical minerals, some of the highest concentrations of critical minerals that we need that we're now captive to China are in that coal. The co-production of critical minerals and thermal energy is essential to our future. And of course, we're getting back to our basics at the U.S. Geologic Survey, which we say is mapping is the core technology. We have gone through a preliminary assessment and estimated that the coal resources on federal land that belong to the American public are worth $8 trillion.
America First Voice is back with another hard-hitting reaction. Today, we're reacting to this powerful House Natural Resources Committee hearing where Representative Harriet Hageman from Wyoming questions Interior Secretary Doug Burgum on streamlining coal permits, NEPA reform, fair market value for coal leasing, and how the Department of Interior is working to unleash American energy. Let me tell you, patriots, this is exactly the kind of conversation we need to secure our energy future and beat China. If you believe America should be energy dominant with all of the above resources, including coal, instead of relying on China and unreliable green fantasies, smash that like button right now and subscribe. Let's dive in. Representative Hageman thanks Secretary Burgum for finalizing NEPA regulations to make permitting easier on federal lands. She highlights Wyoming's critical role producing about 40% of U.S. coal and warns that after over a decade, without new federal coal leasing, domestic and international demand could outpace supply by 2030. She presses on ensuring fair market value that reflects real conditions while encouraging more leasing, and asks about addressing Biden-era bonding rules that would devastate independent producers. Secretary Burgum responds strongly, emphasizing affordable, reliable baseload energy as key to winning the AI arms race with China. He notes China added massive coal capacity last year and is on track for more, while highlighting critical minerals in U.S. coal and the enormous $8 trillion value of federal coal resources. Here's my unfiltered take as a right-wing patriot and constitutional conservative.
Ms. Hageman, the subcommittee chair for our Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries Subcommittee. Ms. Hageman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Secretary Burgum, I want to start today by thanking you for your work on the Department of Interior's finalization of its NEPA implementing regulations to make it easier to permit, access, use, hunt, recreate on, develop, and build on our federal lands in the United States. I co-led a letter with Western Caucus Chair Malloy thanking you for your work on these regulations and stressing the importance of permitting reform for our country's economic development and national security. And I also thank you for being an example to other federal agencies and leading the charge on rolling back bureaucratic overreach that is outside congressional intent. Mr. Secretary, your team has been terrific in helping my state of Wyoming have a better energy future with your support of our coal industry. Wyoming has led in coal production since 1986, and we now produce approximately 40% of the coal that is used in the United States. A February report from the Wyoming Energy Authority recently confirmed that after more than a decade without new federal coal leasing, domestic and international demand could outpace supply by 2030, which is a dire situation for this country. We need new coal leases and expanded production to prevent this scenario. And as you know, part of the coal leasing process, BLM must analyze the fair market value of coal to ensure that the citizens are getting a fair return. Our past administrations, most specifically Obama and Biden, who did not support coal leasing, they actually provided a return to taxpayers of zero, as they did everything in their power to destroy our coal industry. What is your team doing to ensure we develop a fair market value of coal that would reflect real market conditions but encourage leasing, as well as rooted in current market realities, so we can lease more coal in Wyoming?
Thank you, Representative. Obviously, having affordable, reliable baseload energy is key to America's future and key to us winning the AI arms race with China. China was mentioned earlier. China added last year 93 gigawatts of coal. They're on track to do a similar amount this year. We know the technology exists in your state, my home state, to produce energy cleanly from coal. That coal also includes critical minerals, some of the highest concentrations of critical minerals that we need that we're now captive to China are in that coal. The co-production of critical minerals and thermal energy is essential to our future. And of course, we're getting back to our basics at the U.S. Geologic Survey, which we say is mapping is the core technology. We have gone through a preliminary assessment and estimated that the coal resources on federal land that belong to the American public are worth $8 trillion. $8 trillion. And so developing those provides return to our taxpayers. It lowers energy cost. We can do it cleanly, and we can help solve the critical minerals. So again, appreciate the support we have from you in the state of Wyoming to ensure that we can not only win the AI arms race, which requires power, but to get out of the stranglehold that China has on virtually the whole world regarding critical minerals.
Well, the fact is that it is difficult to permit and lease coal in Wyoming and elsewhere, and it is a process that needs to be streamlined. I don't know if you are, it's also astronomically expensive, with years and years and years tied up in the permitting before any of our coal mines can actually start producing. The last coal lease was issued in 2014. As I indicated, 2030 is kind of a drop-dead date by which we need to have some of this permitting done. I have introduced a bill that would address the bonus bid process for coal in the state of Wyoming and elsewhere. I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to look at that, but I would really welcome the administration's support for that particular effort to make sure that we can continue to produce coal. But I also want to talk about some other things that you've done. In December of last year, the BLM amended a Biden-era BLM regulation to extend the phase-in date for compliance with the minimum bond amount for statewide oil and gas leases. In fact, what this rule would do is increase the cost of a single lease for bond from $10,000 to $150,000, and a statewide blanket bonds from $25,000 to $500,000, a 1,400% increase. Obviously, this will have an enormous impact. While this rule has been put back until June of 2027, it is still hanging over our heads, and it would have a devastating impact on my independent producers in the state of Wyoming especially. What is the administration or your office doing to attempt to address what was really a horrific rule coming out of the Biden administration, attempting to increase the cost of oil and gas development to the point that it became infeasible?
Well, Representative, you're accurate that the purpose of those was to actually try to drive an industry out of business, an industry that we desperately need, an energy industry. And of course, you mentioned leasing. We do know that every president from Harry Truman, including President Obama, held the quarterly required legally required lease sales all the way through up until the Biden administration, where in the first 2 years they did not hold a single quarterly lease sale as required by law. That went to federal court. And the states prevailed. We're following the lease sales per the law passed even by this Congress with the Working Families Tax Cut, and we're taking a look at those egregious bonding rules that were put in to make sure that we're appropriately protecting the resources of America, but also making sure that we're not adversely penalizing those that are trying to lower prices for Americans for energy.
Thank you. I yield back.
Representative
Hageman,
Harriet
the
Hageman and
subcommittee
Secretary
chair
Doug
for
Burgum
our water,
are delivering the
wildlife, and
America
fisheries
First
subcommittee.
energy
Ms. Hageman,
message
you're recognized.
we desperately
Thank
need.
you,
For
Mr.
years,
Chairman and
radical
Secretary Burgum. I want to
environmentalists
start
and
today by
Democrat
thanking
administrations
you
waged
for your
war
work
on
on the
American
Department
coal,
of Interior's
destroying jobs,
finalization of its
communities,
NEPA
and
implementing
our energy
regulations
security,
to make
while
it easier
China
to
ramped up coal
permit,
production
access,
massively.
use,
The
hunt,
result?
recreate on,
Higher
develop,
energy
and
prices,
build on
grid
our federal
instability,
lands in
and
the United
strategic
States.
dependence on
I
our
co-led
greatest
a letter with
adversary
Western
for critical
Caucus Chair
minerals,
Malloy, thanking you for your work
patriot.
on these
I'm
regulations.
thrilled
and
to see the
stressing
Trump
importance of
administration and
permitting
Secretary
reform
Burgum
for our
rolling back
country's
bureaucratic
economic
overreach,
development and national
streamlining NEPA,
security.
and getting
I
back
also
to
thank you for
basics
being
on
an
federal
example
lands.
to other
Coal
federal
is
agencies in
reliable
leading a
baseload
charge on
power.
rolling back
It powers
bureaucratic
our economy,
overreach that
supports
is outside
manufacturing,
congressional
and, as
intent.
Burgum correctly
Mr.
notes,
Secretary, your team
contains
has
vital
been
critical
terrific
minerals we
in
need for
helping my state of
technology and
Wyoming
defense.
have a better
Letting
energy
China dominate
future
while we
with your
sit
support
on
of our
$8
coal
trillion
industry.
in resources
Wyoming has led in
is
coal
national
production
suicide.
since 1986.
Wyoming leads the nation
and we
in
now
coal
produce
for good
approximately
reason.
40%
The previous
of the coal that is
administration's
used in
war
the
on
United
coal,
States.
zero
A
new
February
leases,
report from the Wyoming
extreme
Energy
regulations,
Authority
and
recently
policies
confirmed that
designed
after
to kill
more
the
than a
industry
decade,
hurt American
without new
workers
federal
and
coal
strengthened our
leasing,
enemies.
domestic and
We
international
need more
demand could
leasing,
outpace supply
faster permitting,
by 2030,
fair market
which is a
processes
dire
that encourage
situation for
production,
this
and
country.
realistic bonding
We need
rules
new
that
coal
don't
leases
destroy
and expanded
independent
production
producers.
to prevent this
Deeper
scenario.
opinion as a
And
right-wing
as you know,
patriot.
part of
Energy
the coal leasing
dominance
process,
is national
BLM
security.
must analyze the fair
Reliable,
market value
affordable energy
of coal
powers
to ensure
everything.
that the citizens
Homes,
are getting a fair
factories,
return.
data
Our
centers
past
for AI,
administrations,
and
most
our
specifically
military.
Obama
The Green
and
New Deal
Biden,
agenda was
who did
always
not
a
support
fantasy
coal
that
leasing,
enriched
they
China
actually
and
provided a
impoverished
return
Americans.
to taxpayers
We must
of
use
zero,
all our resources.
as they did everything in their power
Coal,
to destroy
oil,
our coal
gas,
industry.
nuclear,
What
and
is your
yes,
team doing
responsibly
to ensure
develop
we develop a
renewables
fair
where they
market
make
value
sense.
of coal
But coal
that
remains
would reflect
essential
real
for
market
baseload
conditions
power
but
and
encourage
critical
leasing,
minerals recovery.
as well as
This
rooted in
hearing
current
shows the
market
clear path
realities
forward.
so we can lease more
Unleash
coal in
American
Wyoming.
energy on federal lands, cut red tape,
Thank you,
support our
Representative.
producers, and stop
Obviously,
ceding ground to China.
having affordable,
Secretary
reliable
Burgum's
baseload
focus
energy
on
is
mapping
key
resources,
to America's future
co-producing
and
minerals
key
with
to us
energy,
winning the AI
and
arms
fixing
race with
destructive
China.
Biden rules is spot
China
on.
was mentioned earlier.
Representative
China added
Hageman
last year
is a
93
strong voice for her
gigawatts of
state
coal. They're on
and
track
for
to do a
practical
similar
energy
amount this
policy.
year. We know the
Patriots,
technology exists
America
in your
must
state,
be
my home
energy
state,
dominant
to produce
again.
energy
Support
cleanly
Secretary
from coal.
Doug
That coal
Burgum and the
also
Trump
includes
administration
critical
as they
minerals, some
fix
of the highest
permitting,
concentrations
boost coal
of
and
critical
all-American
minerals that we
energy,
need that we're
and
now
secure
captive to
our
China are in
future.
that coal. The
Demand
coal
an end to the
production of
war
critical
on
minerals
reliable
and
energy.
thermal
Our
energy,
jobs, our
is
security,
essential,
and our prosperity
to our future.
depend on
And
it.
of course, we're
If
getting
this
back
hearing
to our
fired you up
basics
like
at
it
the
did
U.S.
me,
Geologic
comment
Survey,
below.
which we
Should we
say is
dramatically
mapping
increase
is the
federal
core
coal
technology.
leasing?
We have gone
Do you
through a
support
preliminary
all of the above
assessment and
American
estimated
energy,
that
including
the
coal?
coal resources
How
on
important
federal
is
land that
beating
belong to the
China on
American
critical
public are
minerals
worth $8
and
trillion.
energy? Smash
$8
like
trillion.
if you stand
And
with
so
Representative
developing those
Harriet
provides
Hageman,
return to our
Secretary
taxpayers. It
Doug
lowers
Burgum,
energy costs.
and America
We can
First
do it
Energy
cleanly, and we can help
Dominance.
solve the critical
Subscribe,
minerals. So
hit
again,
the bell,
appreciate the support
and
we have
share
from
with
you in the
every
state of
patriot.
Wyoming.
We need
to
secure
ensure that,
borders,
we
energy
can,
dominance,
not only
strong
win the AI
military,
arms
and
race, which
an
provides power,
unapologetic
but to,
America
get
first
out of the
agenda.
stranglehold that China
Stay
has,
vigilant.
on
Stay
the,
powered.
virtually the whole world
God bless
regarding critical
Representative
minerals.
Harriet
Well,
Hageman.
the fact
God
is
bless
that
Secretary
it is
Doug
difficult
Burgum.
to
God bless
permit and
President
lease
Trump.
coal in
And
Wyoming
God
and
bless the
elsewhere,
United
and it
States
is
of
a process
America,
that needs to be
the
streamlined.
greatest nation
I don't
on
know
earth.
if you are